So when the timer expires, in the go back N protocol, it transmits all the unacknowledged packets. When the timer expires, it transmits only that unacknowledged packet. We'll see in detail what is the difference between go back N and select to repeat with the scenario. You can look at here in this go back N sender at the center side. That is assumed there is a k-bit sequence number in every packet header. K-bit sequence number in every packet header. The window of up to n number of packets. The consecutive unacknowledgement packs are allowed. You can see the scenario here. The green colored packets are already acknowledged packets. They are already sent to the receiver and they are already acknowledged by the receiver. Yellow color packets sent but not yet acknowledged. They are already sent to the receiver but they are not yet acknowledged. The blue color reusable packets not yet sent in the buffer, not yet sent. Finally, not usable. These are already acknowledged packets. Sent, not yet acknowledged, yellow color, blue color, ready to send, usable, not yet sent. Then, not usable packets. So this is our window side, window size. Sent, but not yet acknowledged, and the packets that are ready to send. Look at here acknowledgements for all packets up to including sequence number. Cumulative acknowledgement will send in this go back and we will see the scenario. It may receive duplicate acknowledgements also at the receiver side from the receiver. There is a timer for oldest in-flight packet, the oldest unacknowledged packets. Whenever there is a timer, it retransmits packets n and all higher sequence number packets in the window. We will see the scenario. This go back and pipeline protocol. So at the receiver side, if we look at acknowledgement, we always send acknowledgement for correctly received packet with highest in order sequence number. For example, packets 1, 2, 3 all received correctly. It sends a acknowledgement for packet number 3. That means that is the highest packet that is received correctly. That means that all the previous packets are also received correctly. You can look at here, always sends acknowledgement for correctly received packet with highest in order sequence number. Highest in order sequence number. So it may generate duplicate acknowledgements. Need only remember expected sequence number. So there is a possibility of out of order packeting. If there is a out of order packeting, then the receiver simply discard or delete the packets. Here no buffer at the receiver side in this go back and protocol. No buffering. So re-acknowledgement packet with highest in order sequence number. Now let us look at here go back and in action. Initially, let us assume that 4 packets in a window. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 packets in a window. Right? It's a 4-stage in a pipeline. In a window, there are 4 packets. So instead of waiting for the acknowledgement, it transmits all the packets one by one. So send packet 0, send packet 1. Send packet 2, then send packet 3. So after sending all the packets in the window, it will, sender will wait. Here you can observe here, received packet 0, send acknowledgement 0. Received acknowledgement 0. Send acknowledgement 1. Received acknowledgement 1. You can observe here that there is a loss of packet here. Packet 2 is lost. Packet 2 is lost. But packet 3 is successfully received. Here, because the packet 2 is not received, even though packet 3 is received, the receiver will discard this packet. Why? Because here in this go back and protocol, there is no buffer at the receiver side. No buffer at the receiver side. If the packets are received out of order, it will simply discard the packets. It discards the packet and reset the acknowledgement 1. Why? Because acknowledgement 1 means for packet 1. Packet 1 is received correctly. Resetting the acknowledgement for packet 1 because packet 2 is not received. If packet 3 is received, it will discard the packet 3 and it resend the acknowledgement for packet 1. Packet 1. Then packet 4 is received correctly. Discard packet 4 and resend acknowledgement 1. That means that the sender has to know the packet 2 is not received. Only all the packets up to packet 1 are received correctly. Packet 2 is missing. If it is sending acknowledgement for packet 1 again and again, means the indication is packet 2 is not received. Here, because 1 and 2 are received correctly, 1 and 2 are received correctly, the buffer consists of 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2 received correctly. The sender will transmit packet 4 as well as packet 5. So even though packet 4 and packet 5 are received at the receiver side, because of packet 2 is not received, the receiver simply discards packet 4 and packet 5 and it resend acknowledgement 1. Okay, here after the packet 2 timeout, it can retransmit the packet 2. It again sends packet 2, packet 3. Now the buffer size is also 4, but the packets in this buffer are 2, 3, 4 and 5. 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, here it has to ignore the duplicate acknowledgement. Why? Because this is the acknowledgement for packet 1. Packet 1 acknowledgement is already received here. Receiver at the sender side, the acknowledgement for packet 1 is already received. This is the duplicate acknowledgement. Right? So after the packet 2 timeout, it can start transmitting the packets from packet 2. Now 2, 3, 4, 5 packets are transmitted from sender to receiver. Received, delivered, send acknowledgement 2, acknowledgement 3, acknowledgement 4 and acknowledgement 5. So this is go back and protocol. So here it is a cumulative acknowledgement and here there is no buffer at the receiver side. If the packets are received out of order, it simply discard the packets and it resend the acknowledgement for the high order successfully received packet. Okay, high order sequence number. So this selective repeat, the receiver individual acknowledges all correctly received packets. So buffer packets as needed for eventual in-order delivery to upper layers, but here we are not using this buffer at the receiver side. The sender only resends packets for which acknowledgement was not received. The sender a timer for each unacknowledged packet. The sender window n consecutive sequence numbers. Then the limit sequence numbers of sent unacknowledged packets. This is about selective repeat. There is a timer for every unacknowledged packets. Here we are going to use the buffers at the receiver side for in-order delivery to upper layers. But in the case of go back and there is no buffer. We will see the scenario here also. Selective repeat protocol. You can look at green color already acknowledged packets, yellow color sent, not at acknowledged, blue usable, not at sent, and this blank not usable. The sender view of sequence numbers. Here sender view of sequence numbers. The next one is at the receiver view of sequence number. Receiver view, this pink color out of order packets. If there is out of order packets, it will use the buffer to store the packets. But they are already acknowledged. Out of order, but already acknowledged. They will be kept in the buffer. Then gray color expected, not yet received. Blue color acceptable within the window. Then not usable. So there is if it is out of order, there is no discarding of packets in selective repeat. And second point is there is the acknowledgement for every packet in this selective repeat. If the timer for a particular packet is, if the timer timed out, okay, then it retransmit the concerned packet only. But in the earlier case, we have seen the packet 2 is lost. Then the Sender is transmitting from packet 2 again 2, 3, 4, 5 because there is no buffering at the receiver side. But here there is a buffer, even though the packets are received out of order. There is a buffer available for those packets, they will be kept in the buffer. So after that, all the packets received are kept in the order and they are handed out to the upper layers. If you look at here in the select to repeat, data from the above layers, if next available sequence number is in Windows and packet, timeout, resend packet n and restart the timer. Here there is a timer for every packet. If timeout, then resend the packet and restart the timer. If next available sequence number in the window, then send the packets. Acknowledgements. So mark packets n as received. If n is the smallest unacknowledged packet, advance window base to the next unacknowledged packet. Then the window size will move from left to right. At the receiver side, if you look at here, packet n in, the send acknowledgement for packet numbers n. If it is out of order, use the buffer to maintain the packets at the receiver side. In order, deliver the packets, advance window to next not yet received packets. So packet n in, send acknowledgement, otherwise ignore. So simple here there is a in go back and there is a cumulative acknowledgement. In select repeat, individual acknowledgement. In go back and no buffer at the receiver side. If the packets are out of order, they are simply discarded or deleted. But in the case of select to repeat, if the packets are received out of order, they will be kept in the buffer. So in go back and if the timer times out, the timer for highest ordered sequence numbered packets. The timer expires, then it retransmits all the packets from 2. In the scenario since packet 2 is not received, after timeout for packet 2, then it is retransmitting the packets from packet 2. But in the case of select repeat, if packet 4 is, for example, if packet n is not received correctly, it retransmits only packet number 4 or packet number n. If you look at here, select to repeat, we will see the scenario. As we are assuming that here window size is same as the previous, window size n equal to 4. So it's sending packet 0, packet 1, packet 2, packet 3. Here you can observe here, we are also the same scenario, packet 2 is lost. Okay, packet 0 received, send acknowledgement for packet 0. Received packet 1, send acknowledgement for packet 1. Here packet 2 is lost. So after acknowledgement for packet 0, it transmits the window size, window will move from left to right. Send packet 4 because acknowledgement for packet 0. Then acknowledgement for packet 1, send packet 5. Right? So here packet 3 is received because packet 3 is not received. This packet 3 will be kept in buffer. Acknowledgement for packet 3. Packet 4 received, kept in buffer, send acknowledgement for packet 4. Packet 5 is also received, kept in buffer, send acknowledgement for packet 5. Here there is no acknowledgement received for packet number 2. So here it records the acknowledgement for packet 3 is also received. So even though acknowledgement for packet 2 is not received, it will at the center side will record that packet 3 is received correctly. So after that, packet 2 timeout. It retransmit the packet 2, sending packet 2, sending packet 2, delivered packet. Now all these packets are kept in buffer, kept in order, packet 2, packet 3, packet 4, packet 5. Then it send acknowledgement for packet 2. Packet 2 is received correctly. Okay. So here there are two dilemma scenarios in this. So in one case, You calculate a sequence numbers are 0, 1, 2, 3. Window size is 3. So packet 0 received correctly. Packet 1 received correctly. Packet 2 received correctly. Then packet 3 is lost. Okay. Because there is acknowledgement for packet 0. So after receiving the acknowledgement for packet 0, then the sender will transmit the next packet. Next packet is packet 0. Here we are using only sequence number 0, 1, 2, 3. After 3, we have to send again packet 0. Packet 0 means sequence number 0. Okay. Whether this will receiver will accept the packet with sequence number 0. Here there is no problem actually. You can look at here in this scenario. The receiver sees no difference in two scenarios. In this scenario, packet 0. This packet 0 is correct packet only, right? So even though packet 3 is not received correctly, the next packet is packet 0. The packet 0 is received by the receiver. There is the next packet with sequence number 0, not the first packet with 0 sequence number. To look at this second scenario, so here the receiver can't see the center side. Receiver behavior identical in both cases. The second scenario, you can observe here packet 0 received correctly, packet 1 received correctly, packet 2 is also received correctly. But there is a loss of these acknowledgement packets in the communication medium. Loss of these acknowledgement packets. Okay, because the acknowledgement is not received at the receiver side, then there is a timeout for packet 0. If there is a timeout, if the timer expires for packet 0, it retransmit the packet 0. Here, packet 0, this packet 0 is not duplicate, because the receiver is not, the sender not received the acknowledgement for packet 0. That's why this sender is retransmitting the packet 0, the second scenario. But if you look at the first scenario, so here this packet 0 is not the duplicate one. This is correct one, but this is not the correct one. This is the duplicate one. Actually, the receiver can't see the sender side. Receiver behavior identical in both cases, but actually this is a duplicate packet in the second scenario. Here the receiver accept packet with sequence number 0. Will accept packet with sequence number 0. In both cases, receiver accept the packet with sequence number 0. But in the first scenario, this packet 0 is the next sequence number packet 0 after the window size. This is correct one. But here it is the duplication of packet at the receiver side. Sequence number 0, 1, 2, 3, window size equal to 3. The receiver sees no difference in two scenarios. Duplicate data accepted as new in B. Actually, this is the duplicate data, but the receiver receives the packet as a new packet in scenario B. In scenario B. But in scenario A, the receiver receives the packet with sequence number 0. There is no problem. That is the correct packet number only. There is correct packet with sequence number 0. But in the second scenario, that is retransmission of packet 0 again. That is not the new packet with sequence number 0. That is the retransmission of packet with sequence number 0 again. But because of acknowledgement signal lost, the receiver treats that packet 0 as a new packet. That's why here duplicate data accepted as new data in scenario B. Then what relationship between sequence number size and window size to avoid this problem? We need to increase the sequence numbers. We are not supposing the same sequence number 0, 1, 2, 3 after again 0, 1, 2, 3, not like that. We need to increase the sequence numbering. then there is a possibility of avoiding these type of problems. So this is about what are the transport layer services. Then we have seen multiplexing and demultiplexing in both UDP as well as TCP/IP. Then we have seen connectionless transport protocol UDP. Then we discussed the principles of reliable data transfer. So in these principles of reliable data transfers, we have discussed initially RDT protocols, RDT, right? RDT 0, RDT 1. What is RDT 1? Reliable data transfer protocol, RDT 0, RDT 1, RDT 2, RDT 3. Here initially we assumed that the channel is absolutely reliable. So there is no need of these RDT protocols at the sender as well as at the receiver side. But practically if we see the reliable communication channel is not possible to implement practically. Definitely there is a possibility of loss of errors as well as there is a possibility of loss of packets. Okay, error as well as loss of packets. That's why we are seen RDT 3.0, that is stop and wait protocol. Will send one packet and waits for the acknowledgement for the from the receiver. So whenever there is a positive acknowledgement, we will transmit the next packet. If there is a negative acknowledgement, we will retransmit the same packet again. That is about stop and wait protocol. But that stop and wait protocol will reduce the sender's availability or sender utilization, because we will send one packet and wait for the response for the receiver. Means uh, there is a possibility of channel is ideal for most of the time. That reduces the utilization. That's why you are seeing one scenario where 3 packets are transmitted in a pipeline without waiting for the acknowledgement. That scenario will increase the utilization by 3. Okay, that's why we started what are the pipeline protocols. So actually in practical implementations, we will implement only pipeline protocols, not stop and wait protocol. There are two types of pipeline protocols. One is go back and second one is select to repeat. Go back and cumulative acknowledgement. Select to repeat, individual acknowledgement. So these are the things we have discussed as part of this unit 3 chapter 3 in the test means in our syllabus unit 3. The next one is connection oriented transport. Connection oriented transport means transmission control protocol. Transmission control protocol is a connection oriented protocol. User datagram protocol is a connectionless protocol. So these are the 4 things we are going to discuss as part of TCP. What is segment structure? What is reliable data transfer in TCP? What is flow control? And how the connection management takes place in TCP, because it is a connection oriented protocol. So before transmitting the information between sender and receiver, there should be a connection between sender and receiver. So if we look at the overview of this, what is RFC? Full form of RFC in our communications. RFC full form. Request for comments. There is one standard. You see, it is a point-to-point communication. There is only one sender and one receiver. Then here we need to see reliable in-order byte streaming. Reliable as well as in-order. So here there is no message boundaries in this TCP, but because it is connection oriented. So after the connection is established, there is no restriction on the size of the messages. It is a pipeline protocol, but there is a possibility of congestion control as well as flow control. We will see in detail TCP congestion and TCP flow control. Full duplex data. What is meant by simplex mode of operation? I think you might have seen what is simplex, half duplex, and full duplex. Simplex means only one sender and one receiver, only one way of communication. Half duplex means two-way communication but not at the same time. Full duplex means two-way communication at the same time. Or mobile communication is an example of full duplex mode of transmission of information. Bidirectional data flow in same connection is full duplex. MSS stands for maximum segment size. So the maximum segment size is allowed in this TCP protocol. As I told you, this is a connection-oriented protocol. The handshaking between sender and receiver takes place before transmitting the information or before exchanging the data. Handshaking means nothing but exchange of control messages, request message, accept message, response message, like that. So handshaking between sender and receiver before data exchange in this transmission control protocol. But in UDP, there is no handshaking because there is no dedicated physical communication medium between sender and receiver. Each datagram travels independently from one node to another node in user datagram protocol. So flow control, the sender will not overwhelm the receiver. The sender data rate must be less than or equal to receiver's data rate. It must not be more than the receiver's data rate. If the sender data rate is more than the receiver data rate, there is a possibility of overwhelming of the receiver. Overwhelming of the receiver, that comes under flow control. This is about transmission control protocol. We look at the TCP segment structure. So you're seeing the UDP segment structure while discussing user datagram protocol. So this is the TCP segment structure. So there are many fields in this TCP segment. First field is source port number, that is 16-bit size, source port number, destination port number, then sequence number of the packet. Okay, then acknowledgement number. Then you get the header length. Next field is length of the header. Next one is, next field is not used. This is not going to use. We look at the other fields, U, A, P, R, S, F. U field is nothing but urgent data. So generally not used. We are not using this field. U stands for urgent data. A stands for acknowledged, valid acknowledgement number. Next one is P, stands for PSH, push data now. Generally not used. Urgent is generally not used. Push data now is also generally not used. In between push data now and urgent, there is a acknowledgement field. The last three you can observe here: reset, synchronize, and final. These are the connection establishment things. So these fields are used for connection establishment between sender and receiver. Reset, synchronize, then finalize the connection. These are the fields which are uh, responsible for connection establishment between sender and receiver. Set up connection, tear down commands. So reset, synchronize, and final. These are the things. Then we look at the next window, receiver window. It mentions the number of bytes receiver is willing to accept. Okay. Then urgent data pointer checksum. What is checksum? What is checksum? What is checksum? No one knows. No one heard about checksum. What is checksum? So checksum is a error detection method that is used at the receiver side to verify whether the received data is correctly received or not. So after calculating the checksum, the checksum value is included in this checksum field. So as we have seen an example while discussing user datagram protocol, this checksum is, so after finding the sum of the two 16-bit numbers, the ones complement of that sum we will call it as a checksum. So this is only error detection method. So this is used to detect whether the received data is correctly or not. This is not the error correction method. Then options variable length. Finally, application data variable length. There is no restriction on the length of the application data in this TCP segment. So this is the TCP segment structure. You need to remember what are the fields in the TCP segment as well as UDP segment, and what is the significance of every field in the segment structure. So now let us look at the TCP sequence numbers as well as acknowledgements. Sequence number, byte stream number of first byte in segment data. So it's a byte stream number of first byte in segment data. Sequence number, first byte. After the source port address and destination port address, the next one is sequence number we are going to use. So it is a byte stream number of first byte in the sequence data, then acknowledgements. The sequence number of the next byte expected. The sequence number of the next byte expected from the other side. It also uses cumulative acknowledgement as in where we will use cumulative acknowledgement. Where will we use cumulative acknowledgement? In the previous protocols we discussed it. Cumulative acknowledgement we will use in go backend method. So here if you look at the scenario, these are the sent packets which are already acknowledged. Yellow sent, not yet acknowledged. Not yet acknowledged. Blue color usable, but not yet sent. Finally, not usable. So how receiver handles out of order segments? That is, TCP specification does not say anything. This is up to the implementer. Whoever is implementing this TCP protocol, they have to decide whether we need to use the buffer at the receiver or not. There is no specifications that are related to out of order packets. So usually it's a TCP is a connection oriented. All the packets usually received in order. You get here outgoing segment from the sender side. Source port number, destination port number. You have seen right already this structure sequence number. So this is the sender sequence number space sequence number. Okay, so already acknowledged packets sent, not at acknowledged packets, then usable but not sent. Yeah, you can also look at the incoming segment to the from the sender to the, I think receiver. There is a mistake. The incoming segment to the receiver. Source port number, destination port number, sequence number. Then here the sequence number is important whenever we are transmitting one segment to from sender to receiver. Sequence number. Here acknowledgement number. So acknowledge, you can look at here acknowledgement number. The green color packets are already acknowledged by the receiver. The yellow color packets has to already received at the center side, already sent, but not yet acknowledging. The receiver side, we need to acknowledge the packets, those who are in yellow color. Checksum, urgent pointer, some of the other fields also not mentioned, already mentioned, are mentioned in this scenario. Outgoing segment from the sender, Then here incoming segment to the receiver. It's not sender. I will modify it. You can look at the TCP sequence numbers and acknowledgements. So user types, host acknowledgements, host A and host B. Sequence number 42, acknowledgement number 79. The data is delivered as C here. Here the host acknowledges the receipt of C. Then it sends echoes back to the that is related to the data C. Then sequence number 79, acknowledgement 43. Data is C. The data C is received correctly. So simple telnet scenario in this transmission control protocol. So what is a TCP round trip? What is round trip time? What is RTT? Round trip time. So it is the amount of time taken by the packet to travel from sender to receiver, and it also includes the acknowledgement from receiver to sender, sending back the acknowledgement. So whenever the acknowledgement for the particular packet is received, up to that time we will call it as round trip time. From sender to receiver, again from receiver to sender back. So how to set the TCP timeout value? Is it larger than the round trip time? But RTT varies depending on the size of the packet also. So it is too short, premature timeout. If it is too short, there is a unnecessary retransmissions. If it is too short, the premature timeout is less. There is unnecessary retransmissions. So it must be longer than RTT, but RTT values are varies. If it is too long, slow reaction to segment loss. Two things, if it is too short, unnecessary retransmissions in this TCP. If it is too long, slow reaction to segment loss. If there is a loss of segment because it is too long, the response is the reaction time is very slow for the loss of segments. In here, how to estimate the round trip time? So here it is sample RTT is measured time from segment transmission until acknowledgement receipt. We have seen already. From segment retransmission until acknowledgement receipt at the sender side. So here we need to ignore the retransmissions in this TCP usually. The sample RTT will vary, and this is want to estimated RTT. Here sample RTT we will choose. That sample RTT we are going to use for the estimation of actual round trip time. So the average of several recent measurements, not just the current sample RTT. So initially we need to choose the sample RTT, but finally the round trip time must be average of several recent measurements. It's not just simply the sample RTT, round trip time. In this TCP, too short item only there is a unnecessary retransmissions. Too long item, slow reaction to loss or segments or segment loss. So TCP round trip timeout. So this is the expression we are going to use, the sample RTT, estimated RTT, 1 minus alpha into estimated RTT plus alpha into sample RTT. Finally, this is the estimated RTT. So this exponential weighted moving average. There is an increase of past sample decreases exponentially fast. Typically, alpha value chosen is 0.125. 0.125. The blue color you can observe here that is the sample RTT. The pink color is estimated round trip time. estimated round trip time in TCP. TCP. The alpha value chosen is 0.125, the typical value. In the time mode interval, the estimated activity plus safety margin we will use as the time interval. There is a large variation in estimated activity, then there is a larger safety margin. So there is estimated sample activity deviation from the estimated activity. Usually the estimated activity and sample activity will deviate from the estimated activity, but both are not same. The deviation we will find between this sample round trip time and estimated round trip time in TCP is deviation activity equal to 1 minus beta into deviation activity plus beta into sample activity minus estimated activity. Typically, the beta value is chosen as 0.25. So the time mode interval is finally estimated activity plus 4 into deviation activity. Here 4 into deviation activity is safety margin. That is 4 into deviation activity. Safety margin is 4 times deviation activity. Deviation activity is the deviation of sample activity from estimated activity. That can be obtained using this expression, deviation activity. So finally the time out interval in TCP is estimated activity plus safety margin. Safety margin is 4 times deviation activity. Deviation activity is the deviation of sample activity from estimated activity, that is expressed in terms of beta. Deviation activity and sample activity and estimation activity. So that about segment structure, TCP sequence number, acknowledgement number. The first one is segment structure. Sequence numbers, acknowledgement numbers. Then how to find the TCP round trip time. Then finally time out interval in terms of estimated activity and deviation activity. We will see the reliable data transfer in TCP in our next class. How this reliable data transfer is possible in TCP protocol. Okay, we will see that things in our next class. So we are at this reliable data transfer. After that reliable data transfer, we need to discuss flow control and connection management. Then we will move to principles of congestion control and TCP congestion control. Okay, we'll see the other things in our next class.